In 1838, the world moved at the pace of a galloping horse. Samuel spent his days waiting for news that was already weeks old, watching the mail carriages rattle slowly down the muddy roads of New Jersey. He felt the weight of every lost second, knowing that a message could save a life or change a nation, if only it didn't have to travel by hoof and wheel. He dreamed of a world where thoughts could fly as fast as lightning. Samuel sought out a partner who shared his obsession with precision. He found Sterling, a young man with steady hands and a mind for mechanics. In a cluttered workshop filled with the scent of ozone and sawdust, Samuel showed him a strange contraption made of wood, magnets, and gears. "We are going to make the lightning speak," Samuel told him, and for the first time, someone didn't laugh. The challenge was the veins of their creation. Thousands of feet of copper wire had to be insulated and wound, a task that required endless patience. Sterling spent hours in the corner of the workshop, his fingers stained with tar and wax, ensuring that the electric current wouldn't leak into the air. The wire coiled around the room like a giant sleeping serpent, waiting to be woken up. Failure became their most frequent visitor. Batteries leaked, wires snapped, and the magnets often remained stubbornly silent. One cold night, Samuel sat alone in the dim light of a single candle. His sketches were crossed out, his inkwell was nearly dry, and the silence of the room felt like a heavy shroud. He wondered if he was chasing a ghost, trying to capture a force that was never meant to be tamed. "We need a language for the sparks," Samuel realized. He sat Sterling down in front of a large chalkboard. He didn't want complex words. He wanted simplicity. He began to draw short dots and long dashes. "A short pulse and a long pulse," he explained. "A rhythmic heartbeat that carries a code." Together, they translated the alphabet into a series of clicks that even a child could understand. By January, they were ready for the ultimate test at the Speedwell Ironworks. They stretched miles of wire across the factory floor, looping it back and forth until the room was a web of copper. Sterling moved through the maze, checking every connection and ensuring the line was clear. He was the guardian of the path the message would take. The moment of truth arrived. Samuel sat at one end of the line, his finger hovering over a small brass lever. His heart hammered against his ribs like a trapped bird. He wasn't just pressing a button, he was attempting to collapse the distance between two souls. He took a deep breath and began to tap, the rhythmic clicking echoing in the quiet room. At the far end of the warehouse, blocks away, Sterling waited. Suddenly, the silent machine in front of him came to life. Click-clack, click, click-clack. A pencil attached to a moving strip of paper began to dance, marking the paper with the dots and dashes Samuel was sending from the darkness. Sterling watched the paper move, his eyes wide with disbelief as the invisible signals became physical marks. The message was simple: a patient waiter is no loser. Sterling grabbed the long ribbon of paper, reading the code as if it were a sacred text. He didn't need a horse or a carriage to know what Samuel was thinking. The distance had vanished. He held the paper up to the light, a grin breaking across his face that signaled the birth of a new era. Samuel walked out into the crisp morning air, joining Sterling. They looked out at the horizon, knowing that the world would never be as large or as lonely again. The lightning was no longer a terrifying force of nature. It was a messenger. The age of the instant word had begun, and the silence of the past was finally broken.